Tracy Arman, AFSCME Local Council 31.
Okay, so bring in the old lady. Here I am. I do want to say what this is about to me is this guy. I don't know if you can see him, but this is my grandson, Tyler James Coleman. I know, yeah. All right, cool. And he is 3 years old. He's about to start preschool at a public school, which I think is on the closure list. So anyway, these fights are all about all of us working together. Brandon said it, but let me just reiterate it. Here's the thing, a couple things. One is, in times of fiscal crisis, the demand for public services is greatest, and that is the time when austerity and the cuts hurt us the most. Number two, as Brandon also said, public sector has been the gateway, the opportunity, and the unionization of the public sector has been the opportunity for people of color and women to create, a decent standard of living, to create job opportunities. That's been the source. If you look at our union, more than half of it's women, huge percentage of it is African American. That's where the public sector has been, where people of color, whether letter carriers or teachers or AFSCME or SEIU, that is where folks have had their opportunity to build a decent living, to move into the middle class. And so the attacks on the public sector is an attack on our standard of living, it's attacked on economic justice, and also on social justice. That's what's going on right now in this city, in the state, and in this country, right? Anyway, but that's actually not why I'm here. I'm here to talk about, let me just, specifically I've been asked to talk about our state contract fight, which was recently concluded, but I want to talk about, in Illinois, AFSCME Council 31 represents almost 40,000 state employees, and our members do, they're caseworkers. They provide TANF, food stamps for folks. They make sure abused and neglected children are protected. They care for veterans in veterans' homes. They care for individuals with intellectual disability and mental illness. That's what our members do in this state. And I just want to take one example of what these cuts have meant. South of here, there were two facilities. One was called Tinley Mental Health Center, one was called Howe Developmental Center, and they were in the south suburbs of Cook County. Those facilities were closed. Those facilities, over 70% of the workers in those facilities that had decent jobs were African American. 70% of the workers. And more than half of the individuals who were served were also African American. The governor said, don't worry, we'll provide services in that community. Are there services in that community? No, the private providers don't do it. So where do those folks have to go? Frankly, where do they end up? On the streets, in jail. Some of them make it to Madden, which is where they're sent on the west side. But when we talk about destroying, kind of social public services, it's destroying the safety net. It's destroying not only workers' lives, but individuals who are vulnerable, their lives. Let me get to kind of what I was asked to talk about, which was kind of the state contract fight, because the fight against public employees, and in this case, the fight against state employees, was really about taking folks who have fought and struggled to move into the middle class and sending them backwards, right? That's what that fight was all about. It was about the false choices that our state government is seeking in terms of making state employees and making people who need services suffer while providing tax breaks and helping the 1%. Right? So here's what we faced for the first time in our history. Our union has been bargaining state contracts for 40 years. All right? For the first time in history, we went to the table. I mean, we faced tough contracts before, but here's what they were talking about. They were talking about giving us giving up holidays, actually asking workers to take what's called a 2 pay grade cut, like a 10% pay cut. They're talking about making them work longer for less money. They're talking about taking away their employee assistance program, about promotional opportunities that we had negotiated for, all kinds of rights, all kinds of cuts, and then demanding that they pay much more for health insurance. That's what our governor was proposing to these state workers. And we had never, I mean, the kinds of cuts it was unbelievable. What I'm proud to say is that this created an opportunity for our union to fight. I mean, we understood that the state is functionally bankrupt, right? I mean, how much was it? $9 million unpaid, $9 billion in unpaid bills, a $97 billion unfunded pension liability. Our union and our members understood that this was not the time where we were going to make great strides. And we decided, what we did is, we took a little message from what Brandon said is, we got to get deep with our members. We instituted a program in our union. We educated our activists. We have a 300-person bargaining committee already, but we went deeper. We trained and educated, thousands of members in our facilities throughout the state, in offices throughout the state, from Waukegan to Metropolis, from Quincy to Danville, Springfield, Peoria, everywhere, all over the state. We got people involved, and we had individual one-on-one conversations. We mobilized our members. The governor showed up, we chased him. We had true squads. We moved him. He had a birthday party at the Cultural Center. We had 500 people in the streets, and some of you were there with us, and we thank you for that. We had a press conference in the fields of Southern Illinois, and actually it was supposed to be in a public place, and then he tried to move it to a farmer's field, and we chased him through the fields, and we got there. He went to the Abraham Lincoln Museum in Springfield. We shouted him down there. He went to Lakeland College in Decatur. We shouted him down there. We put pressure on them. We built power with our members, and frankly, it made a difference. What happened? He took the pay cuts off the table, but still we had a problem because he was seeking $10,000 in health insurance cuts from our members. And our rule was this. This is what we had said. We understand we're not going to go forward, but what? We're not going back, right? We're not going back. We're going to hold our ground. What do we do? For the first time in our history as a union, we decided, we went one-on-one and said, this is what's at stake. Are you willing to strike? This is what we're at stake, one by one by one. Can you imagine? Like 38,000 members, one by one by one? Anyway, our members, when given the facts, they were ready. They were ready to fight. They were ready to stand up. He didn't think we could do it. Then he realized we could, and we got a contract. So anyway, I'm sorry, I don't have my time. Okay, so anyway, the point is this. Our union is stronger, bigger, better, bolder. We had a contract vote that, twice as many members voted than has ever voted before. They ratified the agreement by 96%. They're going to end up with more money in their pockets, not less, so it's a great deal. Okay. Just two things really quickly. One is, together we have to end this false choice. We have to close corporate tax holes. We have to fight for a progressive income tax. We got to make sure that, the people who need services get them and the people provide them have a decent standard of living, right? And then the other lesson is, sisters and brothers, when we stand together, when we educate ourselves, and when we fight, we win. When we fight, we win.